Strasbourg, France was the host for the latest BioFIT. There were more than 1,000 participants from more than 35 countries attending the partnering event. There were lots of face-to-face meetings between companies, academia and investors, and there was an exhibitors area and lots of presentations. Labiotech was there to moderate one of the sessions and to do some interviews with companies in attendance.
Yeah. So I'm pharmacist by training and I study law, and then I created a startup company in France and I sold the company, and I discovered that with a small company, even with people in R&D, it's sometimes difficult to understand IP, and because you need the IP, it's strategic things, but it's quite difficult to have an understanding of all the kind of IP. So I decided to create a company which are able to manage the IP and to manage the IP strategy for other. So we are not a patent lawyer, we are not a lawyer, but we think that in terms of IP, you have two kinds of things. You have the legal part and the technical part. But at the end, the goal is to make business. And so that's why we try to do with everybody. We help people to have a first understanding of the basic of IP. This is very important. Then also we help them for tech transfer. We help for funding support. This is important. Also for them to monitoring international consortium. And to do this, we create a new tool. The name is Patman. And I will show you. You have an understanding of patent. You know something.
A little, yeah.
Great. You are just on the target. So Patman is a dashboard, really used dashboard for people who need to have an overview of patent, but it's not his job. Okay. And I will show you how we do. We think that you have two kinds of patents: your patent and the patent of your competitor. This is very important. So your patent or the patent you have on license, you need to know the situation. And we create for this kind of things, this kind of dashboard, very clear. You have all information necessary to do, the stage, granted, pending, or lapse. You have the number, so you can find, you have the country, the date of filing, and this is on the SaaS solution. So I show you the paper, but you have this on the SaaS solution. Then when you click on the number, you have opening immediately the patent. Except when it's new patent, the patent is published after 18 months. So when it's not public, we can have this, but we can include if the companies send us the number. So we add the different thing. Then, based on the same thing of the overview, we create what we call action agenda. And this is very important because you can anticipate what you have to do. When you discuss with your patent lawyer, you receive letter from your patent lawyer, and sometimes you have to respond in 10 years or 8 days, or 1 week or 1 month. With this, we are directly linked to the patent office of different country. So we receive immediately the letter, and then we can inform you, please call your patent attorney because you have something to do. And this is very useful. This is the first thing. The second thing, say when you have a line here, you have an invoice. And it's very important to have this kind of tool to manage your patent portfolio and the invoice. So the CFO are very happy because you can create your budget with this kind of thing. And you can anticipate, because it's very important to anticipate. And then we have, after some comments, some summaries, this is more classical. The other things we develop, this is very important, it's not your patent, but it's a patent of your competitor. It's what we call freedom to operate. It's not because you have no patent that you are not able to do your product, but perhaps third party have some patent and you must check this. This is very, very important. And then we do exactly the same thing. We make some dashboard, except that when the patent is lapsed, it's green because it's a good news. And when it's when it's granted, you must check. And for example, for this patent, this one, it's granted in US, but you have no other patent in Europe. So that means, for example, this patent could be very important for you to avoid you to do something. However, if you decide not to go on the US market, this is not a problem. And you have immediately the view with this kind of dashboard. And you see here that the lapse of this patent is 26. That means if you decide to go in the US market in 27, it's not a problem. So with this kind of things, you have a first overview in terms of strategy to have a different aspect of the next step for you. And when you discuss with your for example, with your VC, you can explain, okay, it's not a risk because in terms of technical, it's important, this patent. In terms of legal point, it's not important because they're not enforced. And we do this, we can do this for a lot of things. And even it's granted, we add the last claims. And then we have a discussion with the people in your company and us to check the claims, to see, okay, are you doing this, not? And then at the end, if there is some risk or some hesitation, we can call a patent attorney. And then you have the possibility to ask the good question to the patent attorney, not another question. And that's what we do.
And it's good that you are able to deal with different countries, because that's obviously a nightmare for companies to deal with.
Exactly. We have for us, it's not a problem of territory, because what we use as an information, it's public information. So I always explain sometimes I make some lecture in university, and I explain that, okay, in the past, everybody explained that the Chinese make a copy of all the things. And I say, no, they don't make a copy. If you not file a patent in China, it's not a copy. The copy is when China sells the product in France. So we can do exactly as the Chinese today. You can check all the patent, and then you check if it's valid or not valid. If it's not valid, or if it's not filed in the country where you are, where is your first target, it's not an infringement. So to have an understanding of the patent matter is very important. And that's what we do. We make, I would say, the translation between the company, startup company, and the lawyer, and the patent lawyer. Patent lawyer, the goal of the patent lawyer is that you have a patent granted. This is the goal of the patent lawyer, and that's good. Our goal is to be sure that the patent will be granted, will be in link with your own strategy, because you can have a patent on the plane and you sell a boat. So okay, you have a patent, but there is it's not useful. And this is exactly what we do. We are, like I would say, department of IP license and agreement for big company. So we help small company to do exactly the same thing, not full time but part time, and with this kind of tool. And frankly, this tool is very useful for us because we need. And for example, the first dashboard, we send this dashboard every month. It's enough to have this every month, but then you have an overview of your patent portfolio. If you have a 4 or 5 patent family, it's very useful for the CEO because we have an overview, and the CFO. We discovered that the CFO are very interested by this because they explain us, we receive some invoice and we don't know from where. We always know from where.